John McCain is dragged under his own straight-talking bus after using the term tar baby during a campaign stop in Iowa. Looks like the straight talk leads to a straight apology.
That's coming up on Hotline TV.
We see parents who dream big, of honor students and artists. By supporting programs that help children learn, we help parents watch their dreams come true.
From the Watergate Building in Washington, this is Hotline TV. Now here are Hotline editors
Amy Walter
and John Mercurio.
Happy Wednesday, everybody. I'm John Mercurio.
and I'm Amy Walter. What could have been the missing fourth verse in Springsteen's glory days? McCain resurrected the Straight Talk Express in hopes of recapturing his illustrious past. But John, can a bus change the fact that he's 70, he's defending the war, and he's now considered an insider?
John McCain always does better when he leaves Washington, D.C. and goes out and campaigns. He had a great weekend in Iowa last month, and I think ultimately he had a pretty good weekend considering the way that he was heading into the weekend with a lot of negative press about the fact that this wasn't 2000, that the Straight Talk Express used to have nothing more, than stale coffee, a box of donuts, and John McCain.
And now it has plasma TVs,
and it's got a Sub-Zero refrigerator, and it's got all sorts of fancy campaign staff. But I think to some extent, what McCain is battling is not only, the change in the dynamic of this campaign versus 2000. It's also a little bit of nostalgia, frankly, on the part of a lot of these reporters who are now a little bit grayer than they were 8 years ago and are looking back a little bit too fondly at the 2000 campaign in a way that McCain can never really recapture. Can he recapture the magic?
So this is like going back to a high school reunion and expecting that everybody's going to be the same as we were when we were 18.
Right, and we've all gotten a little heavier, frankly. Present company excluded.
You haven't lost your hair, though.
I haven't lost my hair. Thank you. And I look good. I look pretty good.
So how much of this then is that there's this nostalgia too for this dark horse, the candidate that comes out of nowhere? That these elections, we are more than a year out, and we already know what this campaign is headed.
He's not going to be that. He's not going to be.
And there is no dark horse candidate. There is no somebody who's going to come out of nowhere in a van and by the side of the road. And
well, unless Fred Thompson decides to ride his red pickup truck back onto the Tennessee country roads.
Would that be a...
Oh, no, he's a consummate insider, but I think he could play the role of an outsider. Look, he's a Hollywood actor. He's somebody who I think he's actually one of the few Republicans who can straddle the very diverse worlds of Washington, Hollywood, and middle America in a way that could be ultimately very effective. The only problem, I think, for Thompson and for Republicans, if they're counting on him to do this, is the fact that he's considered to be a pretty lazy campaigner, which is a big part of why he didn't run in 2002. But back to McCain, I think he needs to sort of put an end to the discussion of whether this is going to be another 2000 or whether this is just an entirely different campaign with different dynamics. As he himself pointed out at the beginning of the weekend, he said, you know what happened in 2000? I lost.
So that didn't really work so well.
So let's not sort of make this about 2000.
Well, in the end, I think that, fundamentally, look, this is a guy who's had a bad couple of months right now. There's no doubt about that. But I would actually rather be in his position than be the front runner. Nobody wants to be the front runner, the guy that is assumed to have the crown a year out. Everybody knows what his weaknesses are. Everybody knows already who he is and the issues about the war and the baggage that he's carrying. The Giuliani stuff, while everybody talks about, it's out there, and yes, conservatives know that he's a social moderate. Maybe they're willing to forego their ideological litmus test to get somebody who they see as a leader and use that as the new sort of marker. We don't know because we've never seen Giuliani tested in this kind of environment. We certainly haven't seen Romney tested in this environment. So when push comes to shove, I would rather, it's almost like any other, and we're going to use a sporting metaphor. But,
go for it.
You don't want to be...
Is that a sporting metaphor? Go for it?
Go for it, yeah.
Or Nike,
go, girl.
Nike,
go. But maybe in a NASCAR or in cycling, you don't want to be out front the entire time because then you're the target the entire time. In fact, if I were McCain, you just say, look, okay, these are my liabilities, these are the issues, everybody knows that. Let the press now spend a little more time looking at and analyzing and picking apart the other two guys.
I've said this before, but I want to own this theory because when it comes true, I want to be, I want it to be mine. I think McCain would be well advised to address the age issue, to diffuse the age issue by coming out and saying, look, I'm 70 years old, I'll be 72 when I'm inaugurated. Here's what I'll do. I will serve one term. He doesn't need to do this yet, but if things do start going particularly badly for him, I will serve one term, and here, before the primaries even begin, here's my heir apparent, whether it's a Mark Sanford or a Tim Pawlenty, or just sort of a young Republican face.
Yeah,
it
but we
screams
don't-
desperation.
It does, and
is
it
the
also
problem.
and it also screams like monarchy or you know,
Right.
like crazy despot
But it also
that's
screams to
kicking
reliable.
out his son who wants to
Absolutely.
take over the empire.
100%. But it also screams to reliable Republicans who desperately want to hold on to the White House and don't think they can. It screams 12 years in the White House, which may or may not end up being true. But at the time that you're saying this, Republicans increasingly discouraged by the prospects that they can hold the White House.
I think
might
that we're
look
going to have to
favorably
go
on
to
that.
the Rolling Stones said it best. You can't always get what you want, but sometimes you get what you need. I just believe that fundamentally,
Good.
yeah.
I think my third grade teacher said that.
Yeah. I think fundamentally that's what obviously, that's what Republican voters are going to have to come down to, which is to say, we may not love exactly what we got in here, but in the end, who's the guy who can, grind this out for the next year?
Right.
And who's the best candidate in November? I'm sorry.
I know you're getting very emotional about this.
And the tears are coming.
You can't always. It's a good song. That Rolling Stone song, really.
So in the end, I still think that gives McCain an asset
Yeah.
going into this.
All right, that'll do it for today. We will see you tomorrow on Hotline TV.